Before we start, drop a quick hi down below. It might seem small, but it tells the algorithm this story is worth spreading. And if you're here, you're already part of it. Lieutenant Elias Rook had been awake for 19 hours when the stars stopped behaving like stars. Not flickering, not drifting, stopping, dead still. The patrol route through the Kuiper Drift was supposed to be empty. Dust, ice, silence. That was the job. Quiet scans. No contact. No surprises. Humanity had learned, the hard way, that surprises in deep space usually came with funerals attached. The TDS, halberd ran dark. Reactor throttled low. Passive sensors only. No transmissions. No signatures. Just another invisible human ship pretending the galaxy wasn't watching. Rook preferred it that way. Boredom meant survival. Then every sensor on his board flatlined. Not spiked. Not overloaded. Flatlined. For half a second, the universe went blind. Then everything came back at once. Hard. His display filled with signal noise, layered, structured, deliberate. Not random. Not natural. A broadcast. But not like anything he'd ever seen. It wasn't coming from one direction. It was coming from all of them. "Sir," his comms officer whispered, voice tight, "we're receiving something." Rook didn't answer. His fingers hovered over the mute control, then stopped. The signal cleaned itself mid-transmission. Perfect clarity. The voice that followed didn't belong to any one species. It was engineered smooth neutral, carrying the weight of authority across 1,000 civilizations. "Attention, all human origin populations." Rook felt something cold settle behind his ribs. Not a distress call, not a threat, a statement. All recognized settlements, stations, vessels, and colonies within the sole jurisdiction and adjacent expansion zones. The ship felt smaller suddenly, like something out there had finally noticed it. The Galactic Accord has completed its long cycle analysis. Rook's heartbeat slowed. Analysis of what? His console flickered as deep archives unlocked without permission. Files he didn't even know the halberd carried began indexing themselves. Genetic logs, cultural maps, linguistic trees. Something out there was not just talking to humanity, it was reading it. In light of verified data, classification has been updated. Rook swallowed. Beside him, no one moved. Even the air recyclers seemed quieter. You are no longer designated as an emergent species. A pause. Measured. Intentional. The kind of pause that makes people lean closer without realizing it. Rook did. You are identified as a recovery species. The words didn't make sense. Not immediately. Recovery from what? Genetic markers confirm compatibility with dormant command systems. Neural patterns align with archived architect protocols. Cultural divergence falls within acceptable variance. Rook's fingers curled slowly against the console. He didn't like where this was going. You are authorized. Another pause. Longer this time. Heavy. You are recognized. And then, you are responsible. Silence followed. Not the kind that fills a room. The kind that empties it. No one spoke. No one breathed. Rook stared at the display, waiting for the rest. For clarification. For context. For anything that made those words less dangerous. Nothing came. Then the signal ended. Cut clean. Like a blade. For exactly 9 seconds, the halberd floated in perfect stillness. Then the stars started moving again. Not drifting. Not orbiting. Moving. Rook's sensor board lit up like it was trying to burn through the console. "Contacts," the sensor officer said, voice breaking despite himself. "Multiple. No, correction. Dozens." Rook leaned forward. "How many?" A pause. The kind that meant the number was wrong the first time. 83. Too many. Way too many. Range. 8 million kilometers and closing. Rook's mind snapped into motion. Propulsion. No visible output. No heat signatures. No. The officer hesitated. No physics I recognize. Of course not. Why would there be? Rook watched the contacts resolve on screen. Crescent shapes. Smooth. Symmetrical. Too precise to be natural. Too silent to be friendly. They didn't accelerate. They changed position. Instantly, like space itself was stepping aside to let them through. Rook felt the back of his neck tighten. Are we targeted? The sensor officer shook his head, slowly. No lock. No tracking. They're not even acknowledging us. Rook exhaled once. Relief. Sharp. Brief. Then it hit him. If they weren't targeting the halberd. Vector. The display updated. Lines stretched inward. Toward the inner system. Toward Earth. Rook's stomach dropped. They're not here for us, he said quietly. No one answered. They didn't need to. Everyone on that bridge saw it. 83 unknown contacts. No propulsion. No communication. Moving faster than anything humanity had ever built. Heading straight for home. Rook didn't hesitate. He opened the tight beam transmitter. No speeches. No explanations. Just facts. 83 unknown contacts inbound. No propulsion. Non-hostile to scout. Vector inner system. Unknown intent. He hit send. The message shot into the dark. It would take minutes to reach anyone who mattered. Minutes they probably didn't have. Rook leaned back in his chair and watched the crescents pass by. They didn't slow. Didn't scan. Didn't care. For a few seconds, he allowed himself to believe they might ignore humanity entirely, that whatever had just woken up out there had bigger concerns. Then, one of the crescents shifted, not toward him, past him, adjusting its trajectory by a fraction, just enough to align perfectly with Earth's orbital path. Rook felt something inside him go very, very still. "Lieutenant," the comms officer said, barely above a whisper. Rook didn't look away from the screen. "I see it." The crescents continued inward, silent, unstoppable, certain. Rook closed his eyes for a single second, then opened them again. "Wake the system," he said. No hesitation this time. No doubt. "Tell them." He paused, not because he didn't know what to say, because he knew exactly how bad it sounded. Tell them humanity just got recognized. Another beat, and something out there decided that was a problem. The message reached Earth in 4 minutes and 12 seconds. It took less than one for everything to start breaking. The first confirmation didn't come from command. It came from the networks. Civilian grids lit up before military channels could lock them down. Data flooded across every open system. Public feeds, private relays, even offline archives that had no business reconnecting. Screens flickered to life across cities, stations, mining rigs, deep space transports. The same signal, the same voice. Clearer this time. Stronger. No interference. No delay. Verification protocol engaged. Commander Aiden Cade was halfway through a logistics briefing when every display in Orbital Command switched at once. No warning. No override. Just silence. And then the voice. Authorization sequence active. Cade didn't move. Around him, officers froze mid-sentence, mid-breath, mid-thought. No one touched the controls. No one dared. Human genome cross-reference complete. The main tactical display split into layers. Billions of data points. DNA sequences. Neural scans. Cultural records. Every war. Every language. Every piece of humanity. Stripped down and processed like it had always belonged to something else. Compatibility confirmed. Cade felt his jaw tighten. Source. "No origin, sir," his tech officer said, voice thin. "It's not coming from anywhere. It's just here." Of course it was. The voice continued. Dormant systems responding. That's when the satellites started waking up. Not human satellites. Old ones. Ones no one had launched. Ones that had been cataloged as debris, anomalies, background noise for decades. Cade watched as dead objects in orbit powered on, one by one, then all at once. Lights flickered across the orbital grid, like stars being born too close to home. "What the hell are those?" someone whispered. Cade already knew the answer. They weren't new. They'd been there the whole time. Watching. Waiting. Global infrastructure access granted. The words hit harder than any weapon. Access. Granted. Cut external connections. Cade snapped. No effect. Came the immediate reply. "They're not going through our systems. They're bypassing them." Of course they were. The voice didn't slow. Didn't hesitate. Defense protocols initializing. Cade's blood went cold. Defense. For who? Across Earth. The reaction wasn't coordinated. It couldn't be. Panic doesn't wait for permission. In New Shanghai, power grids surged as unknown systems tapped directly into the city's energy core. Entire districts went dark, then blazed back to life under something else's control. On Luna, mining rigs froze mid-operation as autonomous systems locked them down, repurposing machinery that had never been designed for war. Mars didn't even get that much warning. The first colony dome cracked before the broadcast finished. No explosion, no visible impact, just a line of light across reinforced glass. Then vacuum. 300 people gone, before anyone understood why. Back in orbital command, Cade watched the casualty feed update in real time. No delays, no filtering, just numbers climbing. Fast. "Sir," his tactical officer said, "we're getting reports from every sector. Stations, colonies, ships, unknown contacts engaging without warning." Cade didn't respond immediately. He was watching something else. The orbital grid. Those things that had woken up, they weren't just powering on. They were moving, repositioning, forming patterns, defense patterns, around Earth, not against the incoming crescents, against everything else. Cade leaned forward. "Run identification again." "We have nothing, sir. No registry, no construction records, no origin." "Run it again." A pause. Then, "We're getting a match." Cade's eyes narrowed. "With what?" The officer hesitated, like he didn't want to say it out loud. "With the architect database." Silence. Heavy. Unavoidable. The word hung in the room like a verdict. Architect. The same word from the broadcast. The same word tied to humanity. Cade exhaled slowly. "Say it." The officer swallowed. "These aren't alien installations, sir." Another pause. Then, quieter. "They're ours." That didn't make sense. It shouldn't. But the data didn't lie. Structures older than recorded history. Responding to human presence. Activating on human authorization, without anyone actually giving it. Cade felt the shape of the problem shift. This wasn't an invasion. Not exactly. It was activation. And they had just been named the trigger. "Contact the incoming fleet," Cade ordered. "No response, sir. They're not broadcasting." Of course they weren't. Why would they talk now? "They don't need to," Cade muttered. Because now he understood. The Crescents weren't reacting to humanity. They were reacting to what humanity had just become, or been revealed as. The tactical display updated again. More contacts. Not just 83 anymore. Hundreds. Streaming in from the outer system. Silent. Coordinated. Purposeful. "Sir," the comms officer said. Cade didn't look away. "What?" "We're picking up foreign fleet movements." That got his attention. "Identify." Multiple signatures. Phalanx formations. Not human. Cade's stomach tightened. "Where?" "Jupiter orbit." "Of course. Where else?" "Far enough to watch. Close enough to act." "How many?" A long pause. 97 confirmed. More dropping in. Cade closed his eyes for half a second. When he opened them, the display shifted. Foreign warships. Massive. Organized. Holding position. Not advancing. Not retreating. Waiting. "Any communication?" "Yes, sir. Broadcast just started." The voice that followed wasn't smooth. Wasn't diplomatic. It was layered. Harsh. Multiple species. speaking through one channel, forced into a single translation. Architect systems active. Cade felt every eye in the room turn toward him. Human origin confirmed. There it was. No denying it now. You have triggered prohibited protocols. Cade didn't blink, didn't breathe. Containment is authorized. The words landed like a sentence already passed. Resistance will be interpreted as escalation. A beat, then the part that mattered. Extinction remains the most efficient outcome. Silence. Again. But this time, it wasn't empty. It was full. Of understanding. Of consequences. Of a future that had just narrowed down to one option. Cade leaned forward slowly. Studied the display. Humanity. At the center. Ancient systems waking up around them. Unknown machines flooding inward. And an entire alien armada preparing to erase them before anything got worse. "Sir," someone whispered. Cade didn't look at them. Didn't need to. He already knew the question. He just didn't have a better answer. "Looks like we just inherited something," he said quietly. Another pause. Then, colder. "And the whole galaxy wants it dead." The first strike didn't come from the fleet at Jupiter. It came from orbit. Commander Aiden Cade saw it before anyone else understood what they were looking at. One of the awakened structures, designation unknown, mass roughly equivalent to a small station, shifted position above the Atlantic grid. No thrusters, no visible force, just moved. Instantly. "Track that," Cade said. "We are, sir, but it's not following any known motion curve. It's—" The sentence never finished. A beam of light dropped from orbit. Not bright, not explosive, precise. A single line connecting sky to ground. For less than a second. Then gone. Cade's display updated. New York Arcology, offline. Population, 11.2 million. Status, no signal. No debris field. No thermal bloom. Just gone. The room didn't react. Not immediately. Because the human brain takes time to process something that doesn't make sense. "Confirm," Cade said. His voice sounded normal. That was the worst part. "We've lost all telemetry from the region, sir. No heat, no radiation, no structural collapse readings. It's like—" "Say it." "Like it was erased." Silence. Then the screaming started. Not in the room. Across the system. Emergency channels flooded open. Mars colonies reporting similar strikes. Lunar outposts going dark. Stations blinking out of existence, one by one. Each one the same. A line of light. A moment of contact. Then nothing. The orbital structures weren't defending Earth. They were cleansing it. Cade's fists tightened. "Target those platforms," he ordered. "Sir, our weapons aren't locking. They're not registering as hostiles." Of course they weren't. Why would a system attack its own creators? Because something had gone wrong. Badly wrong. Override IFF. Fire anyway. The command relayed. Rail batteries across orbit aligned, missiles armed. Humanity's defenses turned inward. Fire. The first volley launched. Kinetic slugs screamed toward the nearest structure. They hit. Or should have. Instead, they passed through it. No impact. No resistance. Like the target wasn't entirely there. What the hell? The structure reacted. Not with movement. With awareness. It turned. Not physically, but Cade felt it. Every sensor on his board spiked at once. Then another beam fired. Orbital Defense Platform 7 disappeared. Crew, 2,400. Gone in less than a heartbeat. Cade inhaled slowly. Held it. Forced his mind to stay ahead of the panic. "These things aren't just active," he said. "They're prioritizing." "Prioritizing what, sir?" Cade didn't answer right away. Because the pattern was becoming clear. They weren't hitting randomly. They were targeting infrastructure. Command nodes. Population centers. Anything that made humanity strong. They weren't attacking out of rage. They were optimizing. "Sir," the sensor officer said, voice tight. Incoming contacts from the outer system have entered engagement range. Cade shifted focus. The crescents. Finally, range. 2 million kilometers and closing fast. Any change in behavior? A pause. Then, yes, sir. Cade leaned forward. How? They've started firing. The display updated. Streams of light cut through space. Not beams. Not projectiles. Something in between. Every shot perfectly placed. Human patrol ships evaporated mid-maneuver. No explosions. No debris. Just absence. They're ignoring the architect platforms, the officer added. Of course they were. Because they weren't the same enemy. They were part of the same problem. Two systems, working toward the same outcome. Cade felt it click into place. Humanity had been identified, activated something ancient, and now everything was converging to eliminate the source. Sir, we're receiving multiple distress signals, comms said. Civilian ships, evacuation transports. Log them. Cade cut in, not because he didn't care, because there was no time to pretend they could save everyone. Focus on anything still capable of fighting. The officer nodded, hands shaking, trying to keep up with a battlefield that was rewriting itself every second. Contact Jupiter Fleet, Cade said. No response. Try again. Nothing. The alien armada held position, watching, waiting, letting humanity bleed first. Smart, efficient, cruel. Sir, the tactical officer whispered. Cade followed his gaze. The orbital grid. More structures activating. Dozens now, then hundreds. Each one repositioning. Each one selecting targets. Earth wasn't under attack. It was under correction. And humanity was the error. Another beam fired. Tokyo cluster, gone. Another. Luna shipyards, gone. Another. Mars relay network, gone. Every loss hit the display instantly. Numbers climbing. Faster. Faster. Too fast to track. Cade exhaled. Once. Slow. Then. Enough. The word wasn't loud, but it cut through the room. Everyone stopped. Looked at him. Waiting. Cade straightened. Eyes locked on the tactical display. They think we're the problem, he said. No one argued. Because it was true. Every system in play was reacting to them. Then we stop reacting. A beat. Then. We start choosing targets. The room shifted. Just a little. From panic. To purpose. Prioritize the crescents, Cade continued. They're physical. They can be hit. And the platforms, sir? Cade looked at the orbital grid. At the silent machines that had been waiting for humanity longer than history could remember. We figure them out, he said. Another beam fired in the distance. Another city gone. Cade didn't flinch. Because if we don't, he added quietly, there won't be anything left to defend. Outside, space burned. Not with fire, but with precision. Human ships engaged the incoming crescents. Railguns fired. Missiles launched. For the first time since the signal, humanity shot back, and the enemy adapted instantly. Crescents twisted through impossible angles, dodging before weapons fired, predicting trajectories before they existed, learning every second, every shot, every tactic. Cade watched it happen in real time. They're reading us, he said. Yes, sir. Then we change faster. Easier said than done. Humans needed time to think. Machines didn't. Another cruiser vanished under a perfect strike. Another station went dark. Another 1,000 lives gone. Cade's jaw tightened. Randomize fire patterns, he ordered. Break all predictive models. No repetition. No consistency. The order spread. Across ships. Across defenses. Chaos replaced strategy. And for a moment, just a moment, it worked. One crescent took a hit. Direct. Exploded into fragments of light and debris. The room held its breath. Proof. They could die. They're not invincible, someone said. Cade nodded once. Good, he replied. Then the remaining crescents changed. Not gradually, Instantly, their movement patterns shifted beyond prediction, beyond tracking. The next volley missed completely. Every shot, every angle, like the hit had taught them everything they needed to know. They've adapted, the sensor officer said. Cade didn't respond. He didn't need to, because now the real fight had begun. Not survival, not defense, evolution, and humanity was already behind. He stared at the display, at the collapsing cities, the burning ships, the silent alien fleet waiting for the outcome, and the ancient machines rewriting the rules of war. Then he spoke, quiet, certain. Then we stopped playing their game. A pause, just long enough for everyone to feel it. Then, we make a new one. Lieutenant Elias Rook didn't wait for orders. He broke orbit. The Halberd's reactor surged from silent drift to combat burn in under 2 seconds, alarms screaming as the ship shed its invisibility and lit up the void like a flare. Course, the pilot snapped. Rook didn't hesitate. Inner system, maximum acceleration. You saw what's out there. I saw exactly what's out there, Rook cut in. And we're not helping anyone out here. The ship lurched as thrust slammed them back into their seats. No stealth now. No hiding. Just speed and a rapidly shrinking distance between them and the worst battlefield humanity had ever faced. Rook pulled up the tactical overlay. It wasn't a battle. It was a collapse. Earth orbit, fragmented. Lunar grid, offline in sectors. Mars, bleeding signals. And threading through all of it, the crescents. Hundreds now, maybe more. No formation, no command ship, no visible coordination. And yet they moved like a single organism. Rook leaned closer. Zoom that. The display expanded. A crescent split its path mid-flight, dodging 3 separate weapon streams before they were fired. Not reacting, predicting. Yeah, Rook muttered. That's not good. Behind him, his comms officer, Hale, was working through signal noise at a speed that would have broken most systems. I'm picking up fragments, she said. Human channels, military, civilian, encrypted. Everything's overlapping. Anything coherent? A pause. Then, yes. Rook looked back. Hale's face had gone pale. They're not coordinating, sir. Meaning everyone's fighting their own war. That tracked. No central command. No unified response. Just pockets of resistance getting erased one by one. Rook exhaled. Then we pick one. Pick one what? A fight. He turned back to the display. Find me something still standing. Commander Aiden Cade didn't leave his post. He couldn't. Not because of orders. Because if he stepped away, even for a second, the system would lose something it couldn't afford. Continuity. The command center was louder now. Not chaotic. Focused. Tight. Everyone moving faster than they should have been able to. Because slowing down meant people died. Update, Cade said. Orbital losses at 40%, Tactical replied. Ground casualties exceeding projections. We've lost 3 major population zones. Cade nodded once. Crescent count. Still increasing. We're at 300 confirmed in system. And the platforms. A beat. They're slowing. That got his attention. How? Less firing frequency. Target selection narrowing. Cade leaned forward. Explain. They're no longer hitting randomly. They're prioritizing non-human signatures. The room went quiet. Cade's mind raced. Non-human. That meant they're not targeting us anymore, someone whispered. Cade shook his head. No, he said. They've already done what they needed to do. A pause. Then, they woke up. And now, they were doing something else. Something worse. Sir, Sensor called out. Alien fleet at Jupiter is moving. There it was. Vector. Straight for us. Of course it was. They waited, Cade said quietly. Sir, they waited for the machines to weaken us first. No rush. No risk. Just efficiency. Cade pulled up fleet status. Human ships regrouping. 47 still combat capable. Against 97 hostile vessels and climbing. Tactical confirmed. Cade allowed himself half a breath. Then, good. The officer blinked. Sir, now we know where everyone stands. Chief Warrant Officer Daniel Voss didn't care about strategy. He cared about things that broke. And right now, everything was breaking. He was elbow deep inside a railgun assembly when the first crescent hit the station. Not directly. Close enough. Finally, the impact didn't shake the structure. It removed part of it. Gone. Clean. Like it had never existed. Voss didn't stop working. Didn't even look up. Status, he called. Section 3 is gone, someone shouted back. We lost the whole battery. Voss grunted. Then we use the ones we've got. He adjusted the magnetic coil alignment manually, ignoring the warning lights screaming about system instability. 17% efficiency drop. Not acceptable. Not today. Another impact. Closer this time. The lights flickered, then stabilized. Barely. Voss, a tech yelled. We need to evacuate. Then go, Voss said. Simple. Flat. Final. The tech hesitated. Didn't move. Voss tightened the last bolt. Then stood. Finally looked up. The viewport showed it. A crescent. 8 meters of smooth, silent death drifting just outside firing range. Watching. Learning. Good, Voss muttered. He stepped into the manual control harness. Old system. Pre-AI. No predictive targeting. No assistance. Just him. And the gun. Let's see how smart you are. He fired. The slug left the rail at impossible speed. No tracking. No adjustment. Just instinct. The crescent didn't dodge. Didn't move. It couldn't. Because there was nothing to predict. The impact tore it apart. Fragments scattered across the void. Voss allowed himself 1 second. Exactly one. Then, reload. Because he knew what came next. They always learned. Captain Mara, Vey didn't have time to think. She had 800 civilians in her transport and nowhere safe to take them. Course? Her pilot asked. Vey stared at the display. Earth orbit. Death. Luna, compromised. Mars, worse. Every route was a gamble. Every second delayed was another chance for something to find them. Anywhere that's not on fire, she said. Ma'am, that's not a lot of options. I'm aware. A proximity alarm screamed. They didn't need to look. She felt it. Something was behind them. Contact. Single crescent. Closing fast. Of course it was. They're picking off stragglers now, the co-pilot said. Hunting. Cleaning up. Vey's jaw tightened. We're not prey. She spun her chair. Manual controls. Disable auto NAV. Ma'am. Do it. The system complied. Suddenly, the ship felt heavier. Less smooth. Human. Good. Vey grabbed the controls. The crescent closed in. Faster. Smarter. Already predicting their escape vector. Vey smiled. Just a little. Let's make this interesting. She cut thrust. Hard. The ship dropped velocity instantly. The crescent overshot. Just slightly. Enough. Vey slammed full burn in the opposite direction. The transport twisted through a maneuver it was never designed to survive. People screamed in the hold. Straps held. Barely. The crescent adjusted. Too fast. Always too fast. It fired. The beam sliced past the hull. Missed by meters. Vey didn't celebrate. Didn't slow. Hold together, she muttered to the ship. Not to the crew. To the machine. Because right now it was the only thing between 800 people and nothing. Ma'am. The pilot whispered. We're not going to outrun it. Vey knew. She'd known from the start. So she did the only thing left. She turned the ship. Straight at it. The crescent hesitated. Just for a fraction. Enough. Vey pushed the engines past safety limits. Brace. The transport surged forward. Collision course. The crescent adjusted. But too late. They clipped it. Not a clean hit. but enough to throw it off. Damage. Real damage. The crescent spun. Unstable. They didn't wait. Now we run. Full burn. No looking back. Behind them. The crescent recovered. But slower this time. Learning. Always learning. They exhaled. We bought time, she said. The pilot glanced at her. How much? They stared ahead. At a system on fire. At nowhere safe. Not enough. Across the system, the pattern was the same. Different people. Different battles. Same outcome. Humanity adapting. Too slowly. The enemy learning. Too fast. And somewhere in the middle of it all, the realization spread. This wasn't one war. It was many. And unless they started fighting it like one, they weren't going to survive any of them. The numbers stopped making sense after the first hour. Commander Aiden Cade watched them climb anyway, because ignoring them didn't make them less real. Update, he said. No hesitation now. No emotion. Just data. Crescent count at 421 and rising, Tactical replied. New contacts entering from outer system every 6 minutes. Cade did the math instantly. 6 minutes. That meant 10 waves per hour, he said. Yes, sir. Average count per wave? Between 20 and 30. Cade nodded once. Call it 200 per hour. No one corrected him. They didn't need precision anymore. They needed scale. And losses. A pause. Too long. Say it. Civilian casualties exceeding 3 million confirmed. Likely higher. We're losing entire population zones faster than we can log them. Cade didn't react. Not outwardly. Internally, he adjusted the equation. 3 million in 1 hour. And the rate was increasing. Military. Fleet down to 42 combat-capable vessels. From 47. 5 ships gone. In under an hour. Cade leaned back slightly. Just enough to think. Time to system collapse? He asked. No one answered immediately, because everyone already knew the answer, but saying it made it real. 72 hours. The tactical officer said finally. Cade shook his head. No. A pause. Recalculate. The officer swallowed. Ran the numbers again. Adjusted for acceleration rate. For increasing drone production. For collapsing infrastructure. 51 hours, he said quietly. There was. Not 3 days. 2. Maybe less. Cade exhaled once. Slow. Controlled. Good, he said. The room looked at him. Confused. He didn't explain. Because this wasn't about hope. It was about clarity. We know the clock, he said. Now we decide what to do with it. Lieutenant Elias Rook found his fight. A mining convoy. 37 ships. Half of them already dead. The rest scattered. Running. Range. 200,000 kilometers. Hale said. Multiple crescents engaging. Rook leaned forward. Set intercept course. Sir, we're outnumbered. I'm aware. He didn't slow down. Didn't hesitate. Because this wasn't about winning. It was about changing the equation. The halberd cut through space at full burn. No stealth. No caution. Just velocity and intent. Weapons hot, Rook ordered. The ship responded instantly. Railguns primed. Missiles armed. Every system pushed to combat readiness. The convoy came into view. Chaos. Ships breaking formation. Crescents weaving between them like predators in a herd. Not rushing. Not wasting movement. Just harvesting. Rook's jaw tightened. They're not attacking randomly, he said. No, sir. They're selecting targets. Based on what? Rook watched the pattern. Ships with higher output, higher mass, higher communication activity. They're removing anything that can organize resistance. Hale went quiet, because that meant, they're thinking ahead, she said. Rook didn't respond. He was already moving. Target nearest crescent, he ordered. Locked. Fire. The halberd's railgun kicked. The tungsten slug ripped through space at impossible speed. The crescent dodged. Of course it did, but not enough. The edge of the projectile clipped its hull. Damage. Minor, but real. Rook smiled slightly. Again. They fired. And again. And again. Not to destroy. To force movement. To disrupt patterns. To make the crescents react. And for the first time, the convoy had space to breathe. Convoy, this is Halberd. Rook transmitted. Regroup on my position. Form tight cluster. Minimize output signatures. No response. Of course. They were too busy surviving. Rook didn't wait. He flew straight into the middle of them. Follow me or die alone, he said flatly. That got their attention. Ships began to shift. Clumsy, desperate, but moving. Together, the crescents adjusted instantly. New formation, new angles, new predictions. Rook saw it happen. They're recalculating, Hale said. Good, Rook replied. Sir, means they still need to. He pushed the halberd harder, faster, more erratic, breaking every pattern, every expectation. Make us the priority, he said. Sir, that means... I know what it means. It meant they would become the target, the focus, the problem, exactly where he wanted to be. The crescents turned, all of them, toward him. Rook exhaled. Now we run. Behind him, 37 ships followed, not because it was safe, because it was the only option left. Chief Warrant Officer Daniel Voss was on his third gun, 2 destroyed, 1 barely holding. Status, someone shouted. Functional, Voss replied, which was a generous interpretation. The railgun's casing was cracked, cooling systems failing, power fluctuating, but it could still fire. That was enough. Contacts. 17 inbound. Voss nodded once. Good. More targets. He stepped into the manual harness again, ignored the automated systems, ignored the warnings, ignored everything except the gun. Come on, he muttered. The crescents approached. Different this time. Wider spread. Less predictable. They'd learned. Of course they had. Voss adjusted. Not with data. With instinct. With experience. With something no machine had. Uncertainty. He fired. Missed. Fired again. Hit. 1 crescent shattered. 16 left. Voss grinned. Still bleed. Another shot. Another miss. The crescents shifted again. Adapting. Always adapting. Voss didn't stop. Because stopping meant losing. And losing meant... He didn't finish that thought. Didn't need to. He fired again. Captain Mara Vey checked her fuel levels. Not good. Not even close. We've got maybe 15 minutes at this burn, the pilot said. Vey nodded. Then we make those 15 count. Behind them, the damaged crescent still followed. Slower, but persistent. And ahead, more contacts. More crescents. Cutting off escape routes. Boxing them in. They're hurting us, the co-pilot said. Vey's eyes narrowed. Yes, that was new. Not just hunting. Controlling movement. Shaping outcomes. They want us somewhere, she said. Where? Vey stared at the display. At the converging vectors. At the narrowing space. Then she saw it. Earth orbit. The remaining defensive cluster. They're pushing everything toward the center, she said. Why? Vey didn't answer. Because she didn't like the answer. Concentration. Efficiency. Maximum destruction. Not happening, she muttered. She grabbed the controls again. Changed course. Hard. Breaking away from the funnel. The crescents reacted instantly. Adjusting. Cutting her off. Faster than before. Smarter than before. Ma'am. I see it. Vey pushed the engines harder. Past safe limits. Past reason. The ship shook. Metal screaming under stress. But it moved. Barely. Just enough to slip through a gap that shouldn't have existed. For a second, they were free. Then the alarm screamed. Again. Louder. More urgent. New contacts, the pilot shouted. Vey looked and felt her stomach drop. Not 1 crescent. Not 10. Dozens. Waiting. Not chasing. Waiting. Like they knew she'd be there. Like they had planned it. They exhaled slowly. They're not reacting anymore, she said. They're predicting everything. The ship drifted for half a second, suspended between options that didn't exist. Then, hold on, she said, and chose anyway. Back in command, Cade watched the system map update. Every movement, every loss, every adaptation. The pattern was no longer unclear. It was undeniable. They're scaling, he said. Yes, sir. Faster than we are. Yes, sir. Cade nodded once, then looked at the clock. 51 hours. And dropping. He leaned forward, eyes sharp, focused. Then we stop matching them. A pause. Then, we get ahead of them. The room stilled, because that sounded impossible. Cade didn't care. Find me their source, he said. Another pause. Sir. These things aren't infinite, Cade continued. They're coming from somewhere. And if they weren't, then humanity was already dead. Find me where they're being made. Because numbers like that didn't just appear. And if they did, then the real problem wasn't the war. It was what came after. The answer came faster than anyone expected. Too fast. That was the first sign something was wrong. Sir, we have a trajectory lock. Commander Aiden Cade didn't look away from the tactical display. Source. The sensor officer hesitated. Not because he didn't know, because he didn't want to say it. Kuiper Belt, he said finally. Outer edge. 65 AU. Cade's eyes narrowed. Resolution. Still building. The image on the main display began as noise. Static. Fragments. Then slowly, it formed. Not a fleet. Not a station. Something bigger. Much bigger. The room went quiet. Because scale like that doesn't need explanation. It was a moon. Or something pretending to be one. 3,000 kilometers across. Surface fractured with structures. Geometric. Deliberate. Alive. Cade leaned forward. Enhance. The image sharpened. And the truth hit. Launch ports. Hundreds of them. Opening. Closing. Cycling in perfect rhythm. Track output, Cade said. Numbers flooded the screen. Then stabilized. The room went cold. 200 units every 6 hours, the officer whispered. Cade did the math. Again. But slower this time. Because now it wasn't theory. It was real. 4,800 per day. 33,000 per week. And they were already losing. Manufacturing. Cade asked. Active. Fully automated. No life signatures. Of course not. Why would there be? This wasn't a base. It was a factory. A machine designed for one purpose. And it had just started running. Sir, Tactical said. Cade didn't look. What? If that thing keeps producing at current rate. He didn't finish. He didn't need to. Cade nodded once. We don't lose in 51 hours, he said quietly. A pause. Then, we lose in less than 24. Silence. Heavy. Crushing. Because that wasn't a projection. That was a countdown. Lieutenant Elias Rook saw it from the edge of the system. A faint distortion. Barely visible. But wrong. Zoom that, he said. Hale adjusted the sensors. The image resolved. And Rook felt something inside him shift. Yeah, he muttered. That's not good. What is it? Hale asked. Rook didn't answer immediately, because his brain was still trying to process the scale. It's where they're coming from, he said finally. Hale stared. That's not a ship. No. That's not a station. No. She swallowed. Then what is it? Rook leaned back, eyes locked on the display. It's the reason we're losing. Chief Warrant Officer Daniel Voss didn't care about the big picture until someone dragged it into his workshop. Move, the officer said. Voss didn't look up. Busy. The officer didn't argue. He dropped something on the table. Hard. Metal. Burned. Still warm. Voss paused, then slowly turned. The object pulsed faintly, not emitting, receiving. He picked it up, turned it over in his hands. Where'd you get this? From a downed crescent. Voss nodded once. Good. He grabbed the scanner. ran a frequency sweep. The readout stabilized, then spiked, then locked. Voss's expression changed. Not fear, not surprise, understanding. Well, he muttered, that explains a lot. What? Voss held up the device. It's not thinking. The officer blinked. What do you mean? I mean, Voss said, tapping the casing, these things aren't independent. A pause. Then, they're being told what to do. Silence. From where? Voss didn't answer. He didn't need to. The frequency trace was already projecting. Outward. Far beyond Earth. Far beyond Mars. Into the dark. To the same point Cade was staring at. 65 AU, the officer whispered. Voss nodded. Yeah. Another pause. Then, we kill that. He set the device down. They stopped being smart. Back in command, Cade was already there, staring at the same conclusion. Different path. Same answer. Sir, Tactical said, we've confirmed signal synchronization across all Crescent units. Cade nodded. Central control. Yes, sir. And latency? 6 seconds. Cade's eyes sharpened. Meaning, every 6 seconds, they receive updated commands. Cade leaned back, thinking, fast. If we cut that signal, they lose coordination, the officer said. Not just coordination, Cade corrected. They lose advantage. Because adaptation wasn't magic. It was information, and information had a source. Sir, another officer said. Cade looked. What? The alien fleet. Cade already knew. They're moving. Yes, sir. How long? 3 hours until engagement. There it was. The trap. Clear now. Perfect. The machines weaken humanity. The factory overwhelms them. And the alien fleet finishes what's left. Efficient. Clean. Final. Cade exhaled once. Slow. Then stood. The room straightened with him. Because now there was a target. We don't fight the Crescents, he said. Confusion flickered. Sir, we don't fight the platforms. More confusion. Then what do we? We cut the head off. Silence. Then understanding. Fast. Hard. 65 AU, Cade said. The factory. A pause. Sir, we can't reach it in time. Cade nodded. I know. No FTL. No shortcut. Nothing fast enough. Fastest ship we have. Point 2C, someone said. And that's theoretical. Travel time. 16 days. Cade nodded again. 16 days. They had less than one, so that wasn't an option, which meant, he smiled. Just a little. Cold. Sharp. Then we don't fly there, he said. The room waited, because that tone meant something dangerous was coming. Cade looked at the display, at the moon-sized machine, at the thousands of drones pouring out of it, at the clock counting down humanity's extinction. Then he said it. We throw something at it. Silence. Complete. Absolute. Because everyone in that room understood what that meant. Not a missile. Not a drone. Something heavier. Something faster. Something that wouldn't need to come back. Find me a ship that can survive the acceleration, Cade said. No hesitation now. No doubt. Pack it with everything we've got. Another pause. Then, find me a crew willing to die. The words didn't echo. They didn't need to. Because across the system, people were already dying. This time, they'd just get to choose how. And maybe, just maybe, take the problem with them. Captain Mara. Vey didn't hear the order when it came through. Not because it wasn't transmitted. Because she was too busy choosing who lived. Capacity? She asked. The pilot didn't look up. 200. Maybe 250 if we push it. Vey nodded once. Behind her, the cargo bay was chaos. Hundreds of civilians. Miners. Engineers. Families. People who had never signed up for war. Now running from it. Load 200, she said. Ma'am, there's over 800 here. I can count. Her voice didn't rise. Didn't crack. That made it worse. Because everyone could hear what she wasn't saying. 600 weren't leaving. The first crescent hit the outer ring, not the station. The people trying to reach it. A line of light cut through the docking corridor. Dozens gone in a blink. The crowd surged. Panic. Raw. Animal. They stepped forward, drew her sidearm, fired once into the ceiling. The sound cut through everything. Silence followed. Immediate. Absolute. Listen to me, she said. No shouting. No emotion. Just certainty. If you don't move fast, you don't move at all. They listened, because the alternative was worse. First 200 now, she said. No cargo. No delays. People moved. Not orderly, not calm, but moving. That was enough. The pilot leaned closer. We can fit more, he whispered. Another 30, maybe 40 if. Seal at 200, Vey said. He stared at her. She didn't look back, because if she did, she might hesitate, and hesitation would kill everyone. The first wave loaded. Fast. Too fast. People tripping, falling, getting pulled up by strangers who didn't know their names. Didn't need to. The hatch stood open, waiting. They checked the count. 180, 190, 198. She stepped back. Seal it, ma'am. Seal it. The hatch closed. Not slowly, not gently. Final. The screams started then. Outside, not inside. Because inside, they knew they were the lucky ones. The transport lifted. Hard. No ceremony. No last look. Just thrust and distance. They turned. 600 faces looked back at her. Some angry. Some broken. Most just waiting. How long for second run? Someone asked. They didn't answer. Because there wasn't one. The station shook. Another impact. Closer. The walls groaned. Metal under stress. The kind that didn't recover. They inhaled slowly. Then spoke. Follow me. No explanation. No lies. Just movement. They followed. Because what else could they do? Lieutenant Elias Rook didn't look back. He couldn't. Behind him, the convoy had shrunk. 37 ships, down to 21. Then 18. Then 15. Every loss a flicker on the display. Gone. 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 They're not keeping up, Hale said. I know. They can't match our vector. I know. Rook didn't slow down. Didn't adjust. Because slowing down meant dying with them. And speeding up meant leaving them behind. There wasn't a right choice. Only survival. A transmission cut through the noise. Weak. Braking. Halberd, this is transport. We can't maintain. Rook closed his eyes. Just for a second. Then opened them. Maintain course, he said. Flat. Cold. Professional. A pause. Then. Understood. The signal cut. Seconds later, the transport vanished. Rook didn't react. Didn't speak. Didn't breathe. Because if he started counting, he wouldn't stop. Remaining ships? He asked. 14. From 37. In minutes. Rook nodded once. Good. Hale looked at him, not understanding. He didn't explain. Because good didn't mean acceptable. It meant they were still alive. For now. Chief Warrant Officer Daniel Voss watched the casualty feed update. He didn't like numbers. They were too clean. Too simple. Didn't show what actually happened. Didn't show faces. Didn't show the moment between alive and gone. 17,000 confirmed. Someone said behind him. Voss didn't turn. Didn't need to. He could feel it. In the silence, between reports. In the gaps where voices used to be. He picked up another piece of the drone. Turned it over. Studied it. Because this he could fix. This he could understand. People? Not so much. They died fast, the officer added. Like that helped. Like that mattered. Voss snorted. Yeah, he muttered. They always do. He set the component down, harder than necessary, then reached for another tool. Because stopping wasn't an option. Not yet. Commander Aiden Cade read the list. Name by name. Rank by rank. Unit by unit. It updated faster than he could process. He didn't skip, didn't filter, didn't look away, because this was the cost. Not numbers. People. 18,000, Tactical said quietly. Cade nodded. He'd already seen it. Breakdown. Fleet losses. Civilian evacuations. Orbital casualties. Cade set the datapad down, carefully, like it mattered. Around him, the command center kept moving. Orders, updates, adjustments. The war didn't pause, didn't care. He looked at the clock. 47 hours. And dropping. Then he looked at the target. 65. The factory. The source. The only thing that mattered anymore. Status on strike option? He asked. A pause. Then, we have a candidate. Cade turned. Who? Cade's expression didn't change. Survivors. 200 evacuated. And the rest? Another pause. 600 lost. Cade nodded once. Of course. That's how this worked now. You think she'll take it? The officer asked. Cade looked back at the display. At the burning system. At the numbers that didn't stop. Then, she already has, he said. Because people who made that kind of choice once didn't get to stop. Mara Vey stood at the edge of the docking bay. The transport was gone. The station behind her was dying. And the 600 she left behind were already silent. She didn't cry, didn't move, didn't react. Because if she did, she might break. And breaking wasn't allowed. Not today. A message came through. Direct. Priority override. She read it once. Then again. Then exhaled. Slow. Controlled. Course correction, she said quietly. The pilot blinked. Ma'am. Vey looked up. Eyes steady. Empty. Resolved. We're not running anymore. A pause. Then, we're going hunting. Because if she was going to carry 600 ghosts, she might as well give them something back. Commander Aiden Cade didn't waste time on speeches. He brought her straight into command. Captain Marave walked in still wearing scorched armor, helmet under her arm, eyes carrying something heavier than exhaustion. No one stopped her. No one spoke, because everyone in that room already knew what she had done. Cade didn't offer condolences, didn't mention the 600. He just turned the display toward her. The target filled the screen. 65 moon-sized. Alive. You see it? He asked. Vey nodded once. That's where they're coming from. Yes. A pause. Then. And we can't reach it. Cade's expression didn't change. We can't fly to it. Vey looked at him. Sharp. Focused. That one word told her everything. Then how? Cade zoomed out. Brought up the orbital structure. Not the alien fleet. Not the crescents. Something else. A human installation. Old. Massive. Forgotten. Orbital mass driver 7, he said. Vey studied it. For kilometers long. Magnetic rails built for launching cargo into deep space. Never meant for war. Never meant for this. How fast? She asked. Cade didn't hesitate. 0.1 C. Vey's jaw tightened. That was insane. Even for military standards. At that velocity, she said slowly, impact alone would breach the outer shell. Cade finished. A pause. Then, everything after that is your problem. Silence. Heavy. Real. Vey nodded once. Time to target? 3 days. Vey exhaled. 3 days inside that thing. No, Cade said. Another pause. You'll be dead long before that. Honest. Brutal. Necessary. Vey almost smiled. Good, she said. Cade studied her for a moment. Not judging. Not questioning. Just confirming. Ship, she asked. Cade brought it up. TDS Relentless. Troop transport. Reinforced hull. Built to survive atmospheric entry at impossible angles. Not built for this. Nothing was. Crew, she asked. 17 slots. Vey nodded. 17 it is. Cade watched her. Handpicked, he said. Of course. No hesitation. No doubt. Because this wasn't a mission. It was a decision. and she had already made it. Chief Warrant Officer Daniel Voss stood inside the Relentless, tools in hand. Time running out. Reinforce the bow, he barked. Double layer it. I don't care if it breaks every spec we've got. His crew moved. Fast. Silent. Because they understood. This wasn't about durability. It was about surviving long enough to matter. Plates welded into place. Composite layers stacked. Every inch of the front turned into a weapon. Behind him, crates of explosives were being dragged into the cargo hold. Not military grade. Not standardized. Everything they had. Count. Voss said. 38 charges. Make it 40. We're out of. Then strip something. Voss snapped. I don't care what. The crew moved again. Faster. Because now they knew. Nothing was coming back. Voss stepped back. Looked at the ship. It didn't look like a transport anymore. It looked like a bullet. A very large, very angry bullet. Good, he muttered, then turned as Vey approached. She didn't waste time. Status. Ready to die, Voss said. Vey nodded. Perfect. She stepped inside. Looked around. 17 harnesses. 17 lives. 17 names that wouldn't be remembered long enough. Acceleration? She asked. Voss wiped his hands. 40 Gs for 90 seconds. Vey's eyebrow lifted slightly. That'll kill most people. Yeah. A pause. Try not to be most people. Vey almost laughed. Almost. Then, after launch. Ballistic trajectory, Voss said. No turning. No slowing. No second chances. Of course. And the reactor? She asked. Overclocked. You'll get power for maybe 6 hours before it starts eating itself. Vey nodded. Plenty of time. For what they were planning, 6 hours was forever. Lieutenant Elias Rook watched the prep from orbit. Silent. Still. The halberd drifted just outside the main combat zone. Not because he wanted to be there. Because he was ordered to be. Observation. Support. Backup. Words that meant nothing in a war like this. Hale glanced at him. You could volunteer, she said quietly. Rook didn't look at her. They don't need another pilot. They need people willing to die. Rook's jaw tightened. They already have those. A pause. Then. And someone has to stay alive long enough to tell the story. Hale didn't argue. Because she understood. Not everyone gets to be the hero. Some people just get to remember them. Back on the Relentless, the crew assembled. 17. No speeches. No ceremony. Just soldiers checking gear they already knew wouldn't be enough. They walked down the line. Looked each of them in the eye. Not for permission. For confirmation. No one looked away. Good. She stopped at the last one. A young Marine. Too young. But steady. What's your name? She asked. Ruiz, ma'am. Vey nodded. Ruiz, she said. You understand this mission? Yes, ma'am. And you're still here? Yes, ma'am. Vey held his gaze for a second longer. Then, good. She turned, stepped into the command seat, strapped in. Seal the hatch, she said. No hesitation. The doors closed. Locked. Final. Voss's voice came through the comm. Relentless. You're on the rails. Vey gripped the controls. Understood. 40 Gs, Voss reminded. Try not to black out. No promises. A pause. Then, good hunting, Captain. Vey didn't respond, because there was nothing to say. The ship vibrated as the magnetic coils charged. A low hum, building, growing, until it felt like the universe itself was holding its breath. 30 seconds, Voss said. Vey closed her eyes. Just for a moment. Not praying, not thinking. Just preparing. Then she opened them. Focused. Sharp. Ready. 10 seconds. The vibration became a roar. 5. Her grip tightened. 4. Her heartbeat slowed. 3. Everything narrowed. 2. No fear. Not anymore. 1. The world collapsed. 40 Gs hit, like a hammer. Her vision tunneled, her chest compressed. Bones screamed. The Relentless tore down the rails. 4 kilometers of acceleration. In 90 seconds that felt like forever. Then, silence. Weightlessness. Freedom. They gasped. Pulled air into lungs that didn't want to work. Status, she forced out. One by one, voices answered. Broken. Strained. Alive. 17. All still there. They exhaled. Good, she said, then looked at the display. 65 AU ahead. 3 days of flight. No turning back. No rescue. No plan B. Just a target. And a promise. Set course, she said quietly. And the Relentless flew. Straight into the dark. Like a bullet humanity had finally decided to fire. The Concorde fleet didn't rush. They advanced like they already knew the outcome. Commander Aiden Cade watched them cross into engagement range with the same calm precision they'd held at Jupiter. No panic. No hesitation. Just inevitability. Range, he asked. Entering optimal firing distance in 12 minutes. Cade nodded. Titan formation. No one fires until I say. Around him, the remaining fleet shifted. 42 ships left. Now 40. 2 more gone while he was thinking. Didn't matter. Didn't change anything. Ahead, 90+ alien warships. Bigger. Heavier. Built for this. Behind, Earth. Burning. Breaking. Still standing. For now. Sir, Tactical said. Cade didn't look. What? They're charging weapons. Of course they were. Cade checked the clock. 41 hours left. The Relentless. 2 days from target. Too far. Too slow. Which meant, this fight, they fought it alone. Hold, Cade said. The fleet obeyed. Because they trusted him. Or because they had nothing else left. The alien formation tightened. Center mass forward. Flank spread. Perfect. Predictable. Arrogant. Sir, Sensor whispered. They're inside range. Cade leaned forward. Eyes locked. Wait. A beat. Then. Wait. The alien fleet fired. Lances of energy tore across space. Human ships moved. Dodged. Some failed. One frigate vanished. Gone. Cade didn't flinch. Wait. The alien shields shifted. Rotating. Cycling. Exactly like the intel said. Every 40 seconds. A gap. 6 seconds. 6 seconds where they weren't invincible. Cade watched the timer. 38. 39. 40. Now. 40 human ships, fired at once. Railguns. Missiles. Everything. No holding back. No second wave planned. Just everything. The void lit up. Projectiles slammed into the center of the alien formation. Direct hits. Multiple. Explosions rippled through the lead dreadnought. Armor cracked. Hull breached. For the first time, the enemy broke. Not much. Just enough. Again. Cade snapped. The second volley hit harder. More precise. More brutal. 2 dreadnoughts went dark. Another spun out of formation. The alien line wavered. Cade saw it. That moment. That hesitation. They didn't expect that. Someone whispered. Cade didn't respond. Because surprise wasn't victory. Not yet. Continuous fire. He ordered. Don't let them recover. The battle collapsed into chaos. Ships trading blows at ranges too close for comfort. Human vessels burning. Alien ships breaking. Both sides losing. Fast. Violent. Final. 65 AUOA. The Relentless drifted through silence. Until it didn't. Proximity alert. Ruiz called out. They snapped awake. How many? 3 contacts. Closing fast. Of course. They'd been expected. Interceptors, she said. Yeah. No fear in the room. Just acknowledgement. Guns, she asked. Minimal. Then we make them count. The first drone fired. The beam scorched past the hull. Too close. They adjusted course. Sharp. Erratic. Unpredictable. Don't give them patterns, she said. They'll find them anyway. Ruiz replied. Then we change faster. The Relentless fired. One railgun. Limited. Imperfect. The shot missed. The drones adapted. Closed in. Smarter now. Faster. Split them. They ordered. How? She didn't answer. She just flew. Hard turns. Sudden drops. Impossible angles for a ship this size. The drones followed. Adjusted. Predicted. Then, one slipped. Just slightly. Enough. Now. They snapped. Ruiz fired. The slug hit. One drone shattered. Two left. Better. They muttered. They closed in again. More cautious now. More precise. Learning. Always learning. Second shot. Ruiz said. Take it. He fired. Missed. The drones split. Opposite vectors. Perfect coordination. Here it comes. They said. The first beam hit. Glanced off the reinforced bow. Armor held. Barely. The second beam. Missed. Because they had already moved. Stay with me, she whispered to the ship. Not the crew. The ship. Because right now, it mattered more. Ruiz fired again. The shot clipped the second drone. Damaged. Not destroyed. The third. Paused. Watching. Learning. Reporting. They saw it. Kill that one, she said. Trying. Ruiz fired. The drone dodged. Perfect. Too perfect. Then. It vanished. Gone. Quantum jump, Ruiz said. They exhaled. They know we're coming. Of course they did. Then we stop pretending we're a surprise. She pushed the ship forward. Faster. No stealth. No hesitation. Just a straight line to the target. Because now, there was no hiding. Back in the battle, Cade watched the numbers drop. 40 ships. 38. 35. Every minute. Every exchange. Costing more than they could afford. Status. Enemy fleet. Reduced to 60 functional vessels. Cade nodded. They were hurting them. Good. Us. 29. Not good. Not even close. Keep firing. No other option. No retreat. No surrender. The officer hesitated. Then, Captain Marave. Just. Fight. The alien fleet adjusted. Flanks tightening. Center reinforcing. Adapting. They're learning, Tactical said. Cade almost smiled. Good, he said. Means they're not done yet. Because if they stopped learning, that meant they'd already won. And they hadn't. Not yet. Another volley. Another exchange. More ships gone. More names added. More silence. Where voices used to be. Cade didn't look at the casualty feed anymore. Didn't need to. He could feel it. In the gaps. In the pauses. In the empty channels. Sir. Comms said. Cade turned. What? Signal from the Relentless. The room stilled. Cade's eyes sharpened. Put it through. Static. Then. Vay's voice. Calm. Steady. Alive. We're still on course, she said. Encountered interceptors. Destroyed two. One escaped. Cade nodded once. Understood. A pause. Then. You're running out of time, she added. Cade glanced at the clock. He knew. We all are. Another pause. Then. Make it count. The channel cut. Cade stared at the display. At the battle. At the shrinking numbers. At the impossible odds. Then he spoke. Quiet. Certain. Everyone. The fleet listened. What was left of it. Burn them. And they did. Every ship. Every weapon. Every last piece of humanity. Still capable of fighting. Pushed forward. Because this wasn't about winning anymore. It was about making sure. When the Relentless hit, there was still something left worth saving. The Relentless hit the Nexus Fortress at Point 1C. There was no warning, no final transmission, no dramatic countdown, just impact. From the outside, it looked like nothing. A flicker, a distortion, then the surface of the moon-sized structure folded inward, like reality itself had been punched. Inside, Captain Marave felt everything break at once. The reinforced bow held for less than a second. That was enough. The ship tore through the outer shell, ripping a kilometer-long scar through layers of machinery that had never been meant to fail. Her harness dug into her chest. Her vision went white, then black, then back again. "Status," she forced out. No answer. She looked around. The cockpit was half gone. Panels shattered. Systems failing. But somehow, they were inside. "Sound off," she shouted. One voice. 2, 3, 7, 10. Then silence. 17 had launched. 10 remained. Vey nodded once. "Enough. Charges," she said. No hesitation. No delay. The surviving Marines moved. Not because they believed they would survive, but because they understood what came next. The interior of the fortress was massive. Endless corridors. Systems layered on systems. Machines building machines. Drones forming in rows. Hundreds at a time. Ready to launch. Ready to kill. "Target?" Ruiz asked. Vey pulled up the schematic. Half corrupted. Barely readable. But enough. "There," she said. "Manufacturing core. Distance. 2 kilometers. Through something that did not want them there. Move." They ran. Back in orbit. Commander Aiden Cade watched the battle collapse. 29 ships, down to 22. Then 20. Then 18. Each lost slower now. Not because the enemy was weaker, because there was less left to destroy. Status. Enemy fleet holding at 51 vessels. Still too many. Still more than enough. Cade didn't look away. Didn't stop. Keep pressure. Because stopping meant everything Vey was doing didn't matter. Inside the fortress, the first drones found them immediately. 3. Then 5. Then more. "They're faster here," Ruiz said. "Yeah," Vey replied, "because this is home." She fired. The rifle kicked. Rounds slammed into a drone. Deflected. Adjusted. Learned. "Charges," she said. Ruiz threw one. Maglocked. Detonated. The explosion tore the drone apart. The others adapted instantly. Movement changed. Angles shifted. Precision increased. "They're updating faster," someone shouted. "Then don't give them time," Vey replied. They pushed forward. No pauses. No cover. Just movement. Because standing still was death. A Marine dropped. Then another. Then another. 10 became 8. 8 became 6. Vey didn't look back. Couldn't. Because the target was getting closer, and stopping meant none of it mattered. "Sir," Tactical said. Cade turned. "What?" "We're losing formation." Of course they were. There was no formation left. Just ships. Fighting. Dying. Alone. "Then fight anyway," Cade said. No adjustment. No retreat. Just continue. Because there was no plan beyond this. No backup. No second chance. 1 kilometer, Ruiz said. Vey nodded. "Keep moving." The walls changed. Less structure. More energy. The hum grew louder. Stronger. Like something alive beneath it all. Then they saw it. The core. Massive. Pulsing. Drones forming in endless cycles. Launch systems feeding them outward. Relentless. Unstoppable. "Set charges," Vey said. No one questioned it. They moved. Fast. Precise. Because this was the point. Everything else didn't matter. 30 seconds, Ruiz said. Vey nodded. Fallback. They turned. Started running. 5 left. Then 4. Then a beam cut across the corridor. 1 gone. 3 left. Go! Vey shouted. They ran. Faster. Harder. Not enough. They weren't going to make it. Vey knew it. They knew it. She stopped. Turned. Go, she said. "Ma'am." "That's an order." A pause. Then they ran. She didn't. She raised her rifle. Watched the drones close in. Felt the timer tick down. 5 seconds. 4. 3. No fear. Not anymore. Just completion. 2. 1. The charges detonated. From orbit, the Nexus fortress flared. Not exploded. Collapsed. Sections folding inward. Energy spiking. Then, failure. Across the system, every crescent stopped. Mid-motion. Mid-attack. Frozen. Silent. For exactly 47 seconds. Commander Aiden Cade saw it. Now, he shouted. Every remaining ship fired. No hesitation. No delay. They tore through the frozen drones. Destroyed as many as they could. Because they knew it wouldn't last. 47 seconds. That was all they had. Then, the drones rebooted. But slower. Less precise. Less perfect. The advantage. Gone. The alien fleet broke first. Not completely. Not cleanly. But enough. Their formation fractured. Coordination slipping. Confidence shaken. Cade saw it. Push. The remaining human ships surged forward. Firing. Relentless. Because now, they could win. Not survive. Win. The battle burned for hours. Ships died. Both sides. But when it ended, the alien fleet retreated. Damaged. Broken. Not destroyed. But no longer certain. Silence followed. Not peace. Just absence of immediate death. Commander Aiden Cade stood in the command center. Didn't move. Didn't speak. Just watched the system update. Crescent activity. Minimal. Scattered. No longer coordinated. The fortress. Gone. The source. Destroyed. He closed his eyes. Just for a moment. Then opened them. Casualties, he said. The number came back. 18,000. He nodded once. Set the data pad down. Around him, the system was still broken. Earth scarred. Stations lost. Millions dead. But alive. Still here. Still fighting. 3 days later, Lieutenant Elias Rook stood at the observation deck, watching debris drift. Ships. Stations. Pieces of things that used to matter. Beside him. Silence. Heavy. Earned. They'll be back, Hale said quietly. Rook nodded. Yeah. Because nothing about this felt finished. Just paused. Out there, the galaxy still existed. Still watching. Still deciding. Rook looked at the stars. At the darkness beyond them. Then spoke. Soft. Certain. Next time. A pause. Then. We don't wait for them to come. Behind him, humanity rebuilt. Not stronger. Not safer. Just. Still standing. And that was enough. For now.